Good morning, I'm Tom Spellman with Dave Wilson Nursery. It's the middle of July out here in the San Joaquin Valley. We're back out in Dave Wilson's experimental orchard, and I'm going to do a review on the multiple grafted nectarine that we did last February 3rd. So it's got about 5 months worth of growth on it now. The tree's way too big already. It's grown out 6 feet since we grafted it, so I want to bring the size back down now, probably to about 4.5 feet overall. That's going to give us another 2.5 or 3 months worth of growth for the rest of the summer, and it should finish off again right about where we want it as far as overall height. We'll choose our height at about 7 foot and we'll keep it there ultimately. We'll make some of our cuts kind of favoring outward growth so that we can do an open center pruning on this. I know it looks dramatic, and a lot of you are probably thinking, he's ruining the tree, he's cutting way too much off the tree, but you got to take into consideration that we still have the rest of the summer for it to finish off. You notice I'm not taking too much off of the side growth. I want this side growth to mature out. I want the tree to be nice and wide, but short enough so that everything's manageable from the ground. We originally grafted 4 varieties on the tree, 4 white flesh nectarine varieties, and we left the nurse branch on. So now that we've got the size control back, we're going to eliminate that nurse branch because it's no longer needed. So here's our nurse branch. We've got a couple of new grafts right up above it. This branch was left on to keep the system of the tree active while it broke dormancy and began to grow, which it's obviously done well. So at this point, we're going to completely remove this from the tree. In reviewing our 4 grafts, 3 of them did exceptionally well, but this one right here, you might remember we lost 2 of these grafts. I thought they had maybe moved, but what actually happened is the wood underneath it, this branch underneath it, is dying. We're probably going to lose that. So there is 1 small graft left on here that took, and it's actually doing well for what it is, just very small and weak. But we're going to need to take away some of the growth on this vigorous graft behind it and open it up to a little more sun exposure. So if it's going to make it, it'll grow out and it'll be fine. If not, we'll probably eventually remove this branch right back down here to the original main trunk. Okay, at this time we can also go back to our original plastic bands which held it in place. They're really no longer needed. The grafts are healed in very well. So we'll just give those a little snip and get those unwrapped and removed so that they don't girdle in too much. You can see how nice the grafts have healed in. The last thing we're going to do here this morning is we're going to take into consideration the spacing on the graft. So we're going to look for some that are a little too vigorous, and we're going to come back down to where they come off of the main bud union, and we're going to remove a few of the branches. I want to open up the center a little bit, so this one's kind of in the way. So I'll take that one out completely. That gives me a little bit more light exposure in the center. This one here, I'll take just a little bit of that center growth out. Don't have to do a whole lot. Just want to lighten up the system, make sure we have a good balance. Make sure nothing's growing too out of bounds or too vigorous. Well, I think that looks good. We've got it cleaned up real nice. We've opened up the center. We've got our weak graft exposed. Everything's nice and balanced out. It was irrigated this morning. It's recently been fertilized. All we need to do now is let it grow out for the rest of the summer and wait for next year's crop.